Okay, hello friends, and welcome to the Whole Life Project podcast. I am one of your hosts, Luke Ankeny, and I am joined tonight
by the other
special guest host, Heidi Ankeny. Not a guest host, just special.
But special. Thanks.
So notice a couple things different tonight. We are in a different location. That's because we're in the middle of packing our house and getting ready for a yard sale this weekend. We kind of have a strategy over the next month before we have to be out. It's not even that now.
It's not a month. It's like
20 days.
Yeah.
So we're in our dining room table that will be listed soon for sale. So anyway, that's why we're here. And then I'm also trying to see when we are in the trailer temporarily, what we can get what we need to do a quick setup, minimize our podcast stuff. So the light might be a little bit off if you're watching. If you're listening, you're not going to notice any difference whatsoever.
It's probably worse if they watch anyway. It's probably better just to listen.
I would prefer.
Either way, it's dull.
I have a body for radio. So
not a voice for radio or a face. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a face for radio. So this is my last night. I'll probably wear a hat. Because a lot of my hats are going to be packed just because of space limitations. So this hat it's not significant. It's probably a woman's hat. I don't even know.
I like it. So I would wear it. It might be.
Yeah, it might be. I bought it at my favorite store, Sierra Trading Post.
Which is just called Sierra now.
So I refer to things in their full name. And it's Sierra Trading Post, and I bought it because it's a lamb. If you can see, it is a lamb wearing sunglasses, or if you don't know what a lamb is, a sheep wearing shades. So,
and it has zero significance, zero meaning.
I just thought it was funny.
And it's kind of yellow.
So I bought it, and it's really yellow.
It's like mustard yellow.
Yes, it's like old 70s washer and dryer yellow.
Kind of,
not quite as dingy. So this will come out on the 10th of July, 2025. On July 11th, 2025, Heidi and I are celebrating 27 years of marriage, our 27th anniversary.
That's a long time.
And that is a long time for you to have to put up with me.
It is.
You're making notes already.
I just was writing down 27
so
I don't say the wrong number. That's what happens after that many years. You have to count every time, every anniversary.
What we thought we would do is to share 27 tips.
No way. Nobody wants to stick around that long.
On marriage, and each of them will be 1 minute long in clarification. No, just kidding.
We actually probably could, but we didn't put that much prep time into it.
We didn't think that far ahead. And if we keep this going, then every year on our anniversary, we can do a tips for marriage on our anniversary, and we can add to those. But something fun that I've been doing before we get into that is selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I almost got scammed today, but I caught it. So be careful if someone's trying to get you to Venmo money, and then before they pick it up, but it was Venmo something at gmail.com, which isn't a real Venmo address. And I caught it, and I said, sorry, suckers. I'm done with this scam, and I blocked them. But you just got to be careful and stuff like that. Everyone else has just been a joy. I've made some new friends. And I
saw some old friends.
Saw a lady I went to high school with. Actually, I went K through 11, and then she moved before our senior year, but I hadn't seen her since like 1994. So she came and bought something actually that I posted, and it was we caught up stood outside in the 105-degree weather and caught up for 30 minutes and made some other new friends. So that was fun. Anyway.
It's like your new hobby.
It's kind of fun. Every day I want to come home and I want to sell something.
And you walk back in after you made a sale and say, what else can I list? I'm not going to have anything left in the house pretty soon.
But we're kind of doing a moving / purging yard sale, and then have sold a lot of our bigger stuff on the Facebook Marketplace, which has been kind of fun. So these are some tips we have for anything else we need to talk about what's going on.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just busy.
Yeah, we are really busy, but we're going to try to keep sitting down as long as we can to do this because we're having fun with it, even though we got a lot going on right now. Just a reminder, at the WLP podcast is where we're found. That's our what's that?
I wasn't listening. Sorry, I was yawning.
What do they call that? At the WLP podcast. It's not our address on those social media
handle.
Social media handle at the WLP
don't know if that's correct.
podcast. So that's where we're at. And then we have an email, the Whole Life Project Podcast at gmail.com, YouTube, Instagram, and then our personal Facebook pages. So most of the people tend to be, I think, are listening on Amazon or Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
And Spotify. So we appreciate everyone who's listening and being a part of this. We'll have a milestone when we get to 1 million listens. So in a few years.
It'll be a while.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Maybe we could celebrate 100 listens.
Yeah, that's going to be our milestone. Not our next one. So 27 years of marriage, just some things that we've found that work for us and may work for you as well. Number one,
we are not doing 27.
We are not. Clarify. Yeah. Don't turn it off. We are not doing 27.
We have like 6.
We have 6 things, and we may come up with another one, but it'll be under one of these categories. So the first one is laughter.
Oh, you're going out of order.
I am sorry.
Okay.
And you presented it to me as I tell jokes and you don't laugh at them.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do.
Sometimes. Every once in a while.
Okay.
You know what's funny over the 27 years is I used to laugh a lot more at your jokes when we were brand new, changed. First married. I don't know if your jokes have gotten worse or if my sense of humor is just...
Oh, it's evolved?
So sophisticated.
Or you just don't find me that funny anymore.
I'm just grumpy.
You might just not.
And you're not funny to me.
Well, I find these jokes and I come home and tell them, and sometimes I get a laugh, sometimes I don't. But then sometimes
they don't make sense.
Right. And then sometimes it's stuff that I just say in passing, and you find that stuff funny.
Those are funnier sometimes than the dumb dad jokes.
Yeah, the jokes are... I think dads are getting a bad rap about these because they're not dumb. They're funny jokes.
I told you a funny dad joke the other day.
See?
I don't remember it anymore.
Yeah, they're funny, but...
I do.
Okay, let's tell it.
Can I tell it?
Yes.
What do you call...
I won't remember.
Alligator in a vest?
An investigator.
Aw, you got it.
What do you call a French guy that's getting mauled by a lion?
This is not funny. I don't even remember.
Claude.
See, this is what I have to listen to all the time. Worse than that often. I only laughed that time probably.
And on the way home today, did I tell you about this? I don't think I did. On the way home today, I have a pretty decent commute, and this motorcycle passed me, and then a little while later, he was on the side of the road, and there's a police car there, and we all had to slow down, but the motorcycle wasn't standing up; it was leaning over. Do you know why?
I don't remember.
It's because it was too tired.
Yeah, you're funny. Yeah, you've told me that one. I thought you were going to tell me a real story from your drive home today.
That's how but I try to do that where I try to make it like a
part
real,
of your day.
like a real story. But we do like to laugh. We watch comedy movies and you laugh out loud and I chuckle to myself. We've gone to watch comedians or we watch comedy specials. We find humor in different things, and we make fun of people, and we laugh like that together.
Yeah,
which is
probably
not
get ourselves in trouble.
Healthy, but people watch and laugh. Again, not healthy and very judgmental, but we do it.
I don't think it's bad to people watch.
Maybe how we do it.
It's just people are interesting.
People
and sometimes
are funny,
they make you laugh.
And I just think, as a person who observes things happening around me, I just find a lot of humor in stuff, and I think you do as well. And it just makes us laugh, and I think that's okay, and I think it's healthy. And we laugh at ourselves, and we make fun of ourselves, and I think that's just a good thing. And we've passed that on to our boys.
Yeah.
And so I think I don't think you can take yourself too seriously in this world, because when everything's so overwhelming.
It's no fun.
It's just not fun. And so if you're having fun and enjoying life and trying to laugh a little bit, I think that's just a better approach. What do you?
Yep, I agree. Yeah. Sometimes I am too serious.
Yeah.
And I feel better when I laugh. Even just now when you told me that dumb joke.
About Claude? Or the
motorcycle? It was the motorcycle.
The two-tired motorcycle?
It was funnier to me on the inside.
You didn't laugh out loud, so I didn't know.
I'm sorry. Because I've heard it before.
I just thought of another thing that we're going to talk about.
Okay. So number one was laughter. We laughed together. That has helped us get through 27 years. Number
two, I'm going to make this number two so I don't forget it, is understanding each other. And my example for this is understanding each other. Like, I can roll out of bed in the morning and start talking, singing songs, good to go. You roll out of bed in the morning, and I'm like the only one in our family like that.
Braden is a little bit.
Samuel,
our
a little
youngest
bit.
Is a little bit.
Heidi, explain to everybody how your morning needs to happen.
It needs to be quiet. I will get out of bed, and I need no one to talk to me for at least a half an hour. Better an hour.
An hour plus.
Yeah. It takes me a while to wake up. I might feel great when I wake up, alert, wide-eyed, ready to do things, but I am just not ready to be with people.
Yeah.
For a little bit. And you understand that. You figured that out about me.
I think there are things that we each have that are unique to us that make us tick. And in marriage, you have to try to understand that about the other person and not force them to change, not force them to be different, and not try to make them somebody they're not. So I just don't have conversations with people that I live with in the morning.
But
some things.
You probably give more on this example than I do, but I do try. If you talk to me, or if you ask me questions.
If I have to leave earlier than normal, and I'll, and there's something I need to share with you, I will make sure I do that.
Right. I can have a conversation.
Yeah.
I just prefer not to.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. The dog is doing what she does when she needs to go out, and she's in our studio tonight. So I'm going to keep talking while Heidi does that. But I think going back to that, just understanding each other and how they're wired, and knowing that, like, there are times I need my space. There are times Heidi needs her space. Like, Heidi likes going to bed early. I like to stay up a little bit, and then lately she's been getting up earlier, and then I, stay up a little bit later. But that's just one example. I mean, there's other things that are unique to each of us that we like. That helps us be who we are, and we just have to understand that we can't change that about each other, and that we need to do the best we can to support each other in our uniqueness. I think that's all I have to say about that. We'll let Heidi sit back down and see if there's anything else.
No, I think that's good. I'm glad you thought about that one, because that was a really good example. But there's a lot of times, I think, in marriage where this is kind of what you were just saying, but we're just different.
Yeah.
We have different personalities. We were raised in different homes with different, upbringings and different likes and dislikes, and we have to work with those.
Yeah. So we'll just go into number 3. This was yours that you came up with. Yes. Okay. Be okay with being annoyed with each other. You don't have to get along all of the time. I'll let you explain that a little bit more detail.
Yeah. I just think, we don't fight. Really. I know people do, but that's not been, I think it's just not our personalities. We don't fight. But we do get annoyed with each other. We do get irritated with each other, and that's okay because we are different people.
Like in the mornings when I sing songs and try to talk to you.
And dance.
Yes.
Yes. That's just more like minor annoyance. But, there are times when I just, maybe I'm exhausted, maybe it's been a hard day, whatever, and I just need to not, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Maybe I did something, I didn't know what I did.
And I can be annoyed at it.
Or you had a dream where I made you mad and you woke up mad at me. This is
all sounding like I'm the one that's always annoyed.
No, that's not true.
I know I do things that annoy you too.
But we don't have to get along all the time. I think there's this misperception that married couples have to be in agreement all the time and have to get along all the time and have to always be in sync, and that's just not the reality when you're two individuals coming together as one, which is what I believe marriage to be. And it just, yeah.
Well,
it's just not going to happen.
On the flip side of that, when you don't get along, it doesn't have to be the end of it, right? Like, there's going to be things, and you just figure out how to work through them. It doesn't mean that we're falling out of love with each other because we are mad at each other or something. It doesn't mean that we hold grudges forever about something because we talk through stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think you mentioned fighting, how we don't fight. I shared this with you not too long ago, but it's just in my head. It's just not worth the energy.
Yeah.
It's just not worth the hate and the way I would feel.
The burden that you feel
during or afterwards.
Yeah.
And I just cannot, there is not enough room in my heart to hold that kind of hatred or being mean or
anger.
That kind of anger because of how it makes me feel. And so in my mind, all this stuff is trivial anyway that we get irritated and mad at each other about. Mm-hmm. It does not matter for eternity. Most of it doesn't really matter here on earth. It's just all trivial, temporary human stuff. And so it's better to me to just be like, yeah, okay, that might have hurt, but in the grand scheme of everything, it just doesn't matter.
Right.
And it probably wasn't on purpose. I hope not. Whatever I'm not thinking about anything.
I'm not sure if you're referring to something.
I'm not referring to anything.
We aren't annoyed with each other right now.
But a lot of times, it's just trivial.
Right. Most of the time.
Yeah. And in this marriage relationship, right, there's give and take. Mm-hmm. And so there are things where I have had to give, you've had to give, and then we come to a common ground, and it's like, okay, we're both okay with living in that space.
Right. And I think, too, a lot of times it comes down to a misunderstanding.
Sure.
Miscommunication.
Or
misperception, something like that. And if we aren't willing to say, hey, you're annoying me, or I'm irritated because of this, then we aren't going to know that, oh, well, I perceived what you said wrong or what you did.
Yeah.
And then it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Which I think leads us into our next thing, number 4. Is this number 4? 1, 2, 3, 4 is that you have to have those hard conversations and you have to talk to each other. So there's hard conversations that you have to have. Maybe there's something impacting your kids. Maybe it's something that there's something awry between us.
Right.
You have to have that conversation, and it's not always easy. Mm-hmm. And you don't know how the other person's going to respond. Even after 27 years, you don't know how the other person's going to always respond.
Right.
But I think what makes those hard conversations easier, and you can correct me if you think differently, but what I think makes those hard conversations easier is that we talk to each other every day and we make it a priority. Even when I'm at work, you'll call me, I'll text you.
Yeah.
And you always ask me how my day was. I'll tell you about my day. We sit down at dinner as a family. Everyone hears about my day. We hear about everyone else's day. Mm-hmm. And that's been something we've always done. And so I think that if communication is always happening, then it's way easier to have those hard conversations.
Right. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Nothing else?
No. Well, I was just thinking, I mean, like how much, I don't want to share too much, but.
No, you don't have to.
But there was a time, like a month ago? A little more than that.
Sure.
When we had a really hard conversation.
Yeah.
Something that I initiated and needed to talk with you about and talk through. And it is not a conversation that I wanted to have, but I knew that I needed to.
Yeah.
Because it was best for us.
Best for us, and it's too important not to have it.
Right. And had we not always had even just daily check-in conversations, and I knew that door for having talks is always open.
Right.
I wouldn't have done it.
And I think otherwise you just don't, and then you just keep going through life, and then eventually you just start going through the motions of it, and it's like, well, that's pointless.
Yeah.
There's no fun in that. I'd rather have the hard conversation and then get to the other side of it and say, okay.
Well, then you feel stronger together.
Time to move on.
Yeah. You feel closer.
Yep, for sure.
And I think just the talking is important. I mean, even there doesn't always have to be hard conversations. We have long seasons in our life where things are great.
There's nothing hard to talk about.
There's nothing hard to talk about, but we still talk every day.
Yeah.
I know everybody in your office. You tell me all about them.
Yeah.
I tell you about my day, who I met with, different things. I talk about the boys.
Yeah, or we're not really big news watchers, but we get enough of it on our phones that we talk about that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. We just kind of have ongoing conversations all through the day.
And I think that's the best. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Except early in the morning. Yeah,
not early in the morning. But I see a lot of like married couples, they just stop talking. And then that's like, their writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, that's the beginning of the end for them, is that communication breaks down.
Yeah. I think maybe I just see this more or think of it more because of the stage that we're in with our boys all being young adults, and our youngest is just finished his freshman year of college. And so empty nest stage, we do still have Samuel at home, but empty nest stage, and that's where a lot of people are. And I think a lot of people our age find they have nothing to talk about when their kids are gone. They feel like they have nothing in common.
Right.
They feel like they don't know each other anymore.
It's like
because
we raised the kids and now we're done.
Right, because their focus has been the kids for 24 years or whatever. And not that wasn't our focus. Yes, I mean, the kids take up all of your time when you're raising them. But we still always made a point to talk, even if the boys were there. Talk around the dinner table or talk and laugh before we fall asleep at night. And recognize that the boys are not our identity as a married couple.
Yeah.
I think that's important, and a lot of people lose sight of that.
Yeah, I think, and we've been able to do it and to maintain that relationship without having to schedule date nights every week, or without having to, date night sometimes is like, hey, let's run to Costco together.
Yeah.
And then we talk while we're there. Or we go for walks, and we talk there, or this podcast is a great example, really.
Especially right now, when
once a week, and we're doing so much. It's like, hey, let's just sit down and have a conversation and include other people in it. I just think that whole communication thing is so important in marriage, and I just think a lot of people miss out on that. I just thought of another thing that goes along with that. I think, like, if you're married to the person, like, spend time with them. I know so many couples, like, they're always going 100 miles an hour, and this, like, when they're just hanging out, they're never. I used to work at a golf course, and I'd see the same guys they'd work all week. Some of them would come and play league on Thursday night, and then they'd be there Saturday morning, and I knew they had families. And I was like, when are you with your family?
Yeah.
When are you with your wife? Like, we've just always. We have similar interests. Fishing's about the only thing that I've been doing that you don't do.
Right.
But we work out together. We hike together. I help, in your business together. When I was in ministry, you supported me in that. There's always stuff that we do together.
Right.
And
And we have friends, like you have friends that I'm not really friends with.
And I might go have coffee with them every once in a while or something.
That I'm not, like I have friends that you're not really friends with. You know them, you like them, but they're not people that you go hang out with. Right. But that's not where we spend the majority of our time.
Yeah, it's with each other.
Right,
and
because
with our boys.
We like each other most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
I think we've nurtured that, like even... And this isn't even like a cheap date night thing, but it used to be for us, is playing games.
Yeah.
Like when we first got married and we would just play cards together, but we still do that because we enjoy
Scrabble
games.
This year, playing a little bit.
And so we just every once in a while pull some games out and the two of us sit down and play, and the boys will join us if they're here. And
so leading into that was kind of 4.2. So I think we're now on number 5, 6, 7. Yep. Number 5. Supporting each other in endeavors. So Heidi is a part of a...
Oh, you're on this one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's number 5.
Okay. I thought you were doing this one.
No. Heidi is a part of a business where it's a lot of women, and we were at an event, I don't know, a month or 2 ago, I can't remember, where one of the people from the corporate office, they were talking to you afterwards, and one of the other leaders, and just said how, because I was there and her husband was there, and she just mentioned how rare it is to see how nice it is for you to have your husband support you and come and support you in that.
Right.
And I think that's something I've always felt from you, is your support in whatever it is, whether it was in my job, and when I was doing full-time ministry, and any wild business idea I've had, coaching, like you always supported me in those things. And so I think, like, and I've tried to do that for you as well, as a mom, as, when the businesses you've had and currently have, and education you want to explore, and you come to me, it's like, hey, is there a way we can make this work? And for me, it's like, yes, we'll figure it out, because that's something that you're passionate about and you want to do. And I just think that we have to do that for each other. Yeah. And not do it in a way that's like, yeah, I'm okay if you do it, but I'm not going to like help, or I'm not going to really show you that I'm supporting you. You know what I mean? Like some people are like, yeah, I don't care if you do it as long as it doesn't cost me any money or whatever.
I don't get it, but go ahead.
I don't get it, but go ahead. And it's like, no, I think the message is like, support has to go a little bit more than that. It has to be to like, I support you. I want to help you be successful. And I think that's like that next step in that.
I think it's an understanding. Like you like, say with my education, I'm looking at the wind outside. I'm doing an extra course right now for sports nutrition, and it's something that I just am super excited about, and I love it. And you know that because you understand me. If I came to you with something that you weren't really sure about, I know that you would ask questions. You would want to understand why I'm excited about it, why I want to do it, so that, I mean, even that in and of itself, I think is a support, is just understanding why the person is doing something.
Well, with the sports nutrition thing, you had been keeping me in the loop in the conversation.
Right.
And then when you were ready to be like, I'm ready to go ahead with this, it's an easy decision because I'd heard it all.
Yeah. Yeah. But if it just came out of the blue, you'd be like, okay.
Tell me more about this sports nutrition thing.
What are your thoughts? What are you wanting to do with it? Yeah. You would want to understand it so that you could support me. Right. Even if it's just, how's your class going?
Right. How is your class going?
Well, it hasn't lately. I've taken about a week and a half off. It's a self-guided, yes. And so I have a certain time frame to get it done. But
I just think, again, going back to communication and supporting each other, like the more you know, the more you're involved, it's just the better it is for your relationship.
Yeah.
I think. The next one, number 6 in our list of 27 things for our 27th anniversary, is knowing and doing your role. So when I was a basketball coach, we always tried to make sure every every guy on the team or every girl on the team knew their role, like their specific role on the team. One guy, it was literally, he was so good at talking on defense. I would just put him in the game for a minute or two, whenever, and he was a good basketball player at other things, but he was really good at getting the whole team talking because he was so loud. And that was his role, and he knew it, and he was important to that team, and we won a lot of games simply because he knew that role, and he would get him going on defense when we needed him to. And it's the only time I've had other coaches compliment somebody on how well they talked on defense. And what I found as a coach is that when they knew their role, even if it was a small role, you just get more out of them, and they do that role well. And so I think in marriage, like, I don't want to get into a whole gender conversation, but I think there are roles clearly defined for men and women.
Yes.
And we've never, I think we got married and had that assumption that that's how it was. We never really had this conversation, like, what are our roles going to be? We kind of got in them, and not necessarily based on our gender. Mm-hmm. We got in them based on what each other needed and what our family needed. And those were the roles we've done and continue to do.
I think those roles have lined up with gifts that God has given us.
Yes, I agree.
I am a nurturer. Okay, you could argue that's a female thing. Yes, females tend to be more nurturing.
But you are more nurturing than I am.
But I am more nurturing than you. And so for me to play into that's a strength that God has given me. And that has played out in the home, raising our boys and being home with them.
Yeah, and I have a strong desire to provide.
Yes.
And I don't like when I can't provide very well, and I want to be able to provide very well. And I don't have a problem with you pursuing things you're passionate about with help with that provision. I do not, in no means am I saying, like,
you have to be the one.
I have to be the one. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there are other things, like I'm just more gifted towards doing, and then there are things that you're more gifted towards doing. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think I could bake a loaf of bread and have it come out good. I know a lot of guys that can.
Yeah. You did tell me one day,
I want to
learn how to make bread.
You're really good at it, but I know a lot of women that can't cook or bake anything.
Right.
And so that's not necessarily gender specific, but for our relationship, I tend to do more of the stuff outside, or like maintenance on the house or whatever, cars, while you tend to do more of the stuff inside. Now, I have worked as a janitor. You
can clean.
And so I can clean, and that's
just a skill I think all women should have.
From time to time.
Mm-hmm. But that does fall more under my role, because I'm the one in the home more. You're out providing.
Yeah. And that's something that's worked for us, right? Like we were very clear that we always wanted to have someone at home with our boys.
Yeah.
Or someone that would be home when they got home. Like that was a non-negotiable thing. So even if it meant, like, the majority of our lives together, it was been one income, and that one income hasn't been very much. Mm-hmm. And we've never lacked.
Right.
We've never missed out on something that we perceived we missed out on. Our boys didn't know any different.
Yeah.
I mean, they told us a couple of years ago, like, we had no idea we were so poor.
When they were little.
No idea. They had no idea. So it's like, okay, we're good tricksters. But I just think in all of that, like, knowing your role and what you bring to the relationship and to the family is just super important.
Mm-hmm. And I think for the other person to support you in that role is super important too. If you were hard on me for not contributing to a household income when our boys were little and we were so poor, that would have just completely destroyed me and as a mom.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's like, whatever those roles are, like, don't be a jerk about those, like
if I don't get the laundry done,
don't be a jerk about it.
You're not going to come home and be mad because the pants aren't washed.
Why isn't the house clean? And I come home and you're sitting in the Like when the boys were little and you're like, look, I'm about ready to walk out the back door and get out of here. I haven't taken a shower today. I'm just going to leave for a little bit. And you got these guys. Okay, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Because sometimes life's just hard.
Yeah.
But I think knowing your role and then finding the joy in fulfilling that role to help support and complement the other person in your family. And that's what we found as basketball coaches, like getting these kids to buy into their role and see how it helps the team.
Yeah.
Helps the team function, helps the team win games,
it's more fun.
Helps the team be their best, then it's more fun. And you have to...
And they feel important.
Yeah, and you have to have a lot of humility, and you have to sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
For those of you just listening, I'm using hand motions when I'm talking a lot. Yeah. For those of you on the YouTube, you get it all.
And the clicking in the background
is Harper in the background is the dog eating a bone.
Chewing on her bone right next to us.
The last thing, I think you phrased it as, we go to church together.
I said we go to church together, we pray together, which we don't do often
enough.
But we do. But I like how you said it better.
I just wrote down faith with an arrow. And then there's nothing else.
How do you say that?
I think our faith is the most important part of our relationship.
It is. We've
always kept that at the center.
Yes. A deep faith that we both share. It's ours individually, but I think it's ours as a married couple too.
Yeah, and I think biblically there is a precedent that someone is the head of the household when it comes to spiritual matters. Mm-hmm. And in the Bible, there are often times where like the husband would get saved, would come to know Christ, and then it would talk about how immediately his entire family was baptized.
Yeah.
Like they just followed his lead because that was what's important for his family. And
that was his role.
That was his
spiritual leader.
And so in my role as a spiritual leader of our family, with your support and in us having those conversations, we've been able to strengthen each other. Because there's some scripture, and I didn't think to pull that scripture out ahead of time, but there are some scripture that people always misinterpret and pull out of there, pull what they want to hear out of that, and it becomes very much like, women support your husband and blah, 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 blah. But when I read that scripture,
like a submissive.
When I read that scripture, there is more of a responsibility placed on the husband to make sure like there's that he is worthy to honor and that he honors his wife and that the faith is taught and lived out in the home in such a way that everybody will want to have that faith as their own. So I believe there was so much more responsibility, and like you got to honor your husband and submit and all this stuff. Like that's just a cop out to guys that don't want to work hard to raise their family right and to lead by example.
Yeah.
And I haven't always led by example. I haven't always done the best job, but we've talked about this before. It's it's always been a priority to praying together every night at dinner, at least, making sure we go to church together on Sundays. That was a non-negotiable worship attendance.
Right.
And then having other opportunities to share our faith, to serve together, to do different things. And to, again, going back to all these things, to have those hard conversations about our faith when necessary. And to make sure our boys know what we believe, why we believe what we believe, and then it's on us to go live that out.
And I think like all of these fall back under faith. Hard conversations, maybe not the being annoyed. Well, kind of, yeah. Your roles and supporting each other. Like I think supporting each other in our faith, in our individual relationship, and knowing that there's going to be peaks and valleys. Right? Like there have been times when you've been in a desert space.
Right.
And I know that. And I support you, even though it's hard for you in that time. And I support you in that. I pray for you in that. Or, I'm struggling with something spiritually. And because we have the conversations, you can support me in that. And so I think it's like that support of wherever your faith is.
Yeah.
For your spouse.
100%. All right, Heidi. Well, it's been a fun episode. I think this is episode 9 that we're on. And it's been a fun 27 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
I don't mean that in a bad way. It doesn't feel like 27 years. It's probably
been longer for you, if we're being honest.
No, I doubt it. 27 years married.
27 years married. 29 years together-ish. 28 and a half
dating.
Years
married.
Together. We've known each other for 20, 30 years.
We should tell that story to end. How we met. What kicked it all off.
We've known each other for 30 years. Let's tell the story.
Do you want to tell it or do you want me to?
Heidi and I went to George Fox College, and then it changed to George Fox University in Newburgh, Oregon. I was on the basketball team. Heidi ran cross country. Did you run cross country?
I did, just to keep in shape, not because I was good.
Heidi was on the track team.
I was on the track team.
I was also on the track team. As a freshman, basketball season went into when track had already started. So I think basketball ended on a Saturday. We got bounced from the playoffs or didn't make playoffs. I don't know. So basketball practice was done on a Saturday, and I showed up on Monday to track practice.
Like a week late or 2 weeks late for track practice.
It was like almost into February. So you guys started training when you got back.
We had done indoor.
So, yeah. Sorry, heavy breather. So everyone had already been there. They already knew each other. I knew some of the people on the track team, but hardly any.
Not the sprinters.
I didn't know any of them. I had met the sprint coach. I
had no idea who you were.
I didn't know any of them.
And I went to basketball games.
Yeah, I didn't play. I sat at the end of the bench.
I didn't know who you were.
So I was late coming out. Basketball ended on a Saturday. I went to track practice on a Monday. I was probably kind of tired from the basketball season. I probably should have taken another week off, but I wanted to get out there and help out the team. So we started out in the foyer of the athletic center as where there was a team meeting,
It was just the sprinters, kind of like a quick team meeting.
We do our warm-up first? Or no, we were
going out to do warm-up. It was mostly just Guzman, who was our coach, introducing you to the sprint group.
Oh, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. It wasn't really a team meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let Heidi take it from here because she loves to tell the story.
I don't love it. I just tell it right. So we're walking out after Guzman introduces Luke, and here's this new guy. He's from the basketball team. He does, 100, 200 relays, whatever. Told us all about him. And then we're walking out, and I was just being friendly and nice. Like I didn't know who he was. So I knew he was going to be with us, working out with us. So I figured I would say hi. I was asking him questions. I don't even remember what the questions were.
I don't either.
Maybe like where you're from, or I don't know. And I was just getting these short little one-word answers. And it felt very cold and jerk-like.
She thought I was a jerk like all the other basketball players.
There was a little bit of a boy just got home. There was a little bit of a reputation for some of the athletes that they were kind of like that. And I thought Luke just fell into that, so I just labeled him right then and there as a jerk and left it at that. And went out and did our workout. And
I don't know if I did anything to improve my status. I've tried to think about why I was only giving one-word answers that day, and I don't know. I was probably tired and didn't feel like talking, kind of like you in the morning.
Probably.
That's where our being okay with being annoyed at each other started. And so, but after that, things got better. We became friends, and I was dating somebody else.
Yep. But we were forced to spend time together.
But we got, because the sprinters just always practiced together. And once everyone got to know me, they liked me.
Yeah.
They didn't think I was a jerk, including Heidi.
That's a little bit of a theme through your life, though.
What people think I'm a jerk?
When people first meet you, they think that you're
because I look
intimidating.
I don't feel like talking a lot.
You don't just walk around with a smile plastered on your face, and so people think you're scary. But once they get to know you, everybody loves you.
Resting jerk face?
Resting jerk face.
That's what I have.
Anyway, so it started out with me thinking you were a jerk.
People think I'm mean. People think I'm intimidating. People think I'm a jerk. And then once they get to know me, they're like, wow, this is a really nice person.
It's just like a big teddy bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't just keep
And then I broke up with the person I was dating.
Not because of me.
Not because of you. It just wasn't working. She found somebody. She's happily married.
She's a great person.
Living her best life. Yeah, great person. And then, Heidi and I got together later. Yeah. Well, after that, it was like
spring break the next year.
Yeah, the next year. So, and then
27 years later,
the following, right around Thanksgiving time, I asked you to marry me, and that next summer we got married.
Yep.
In Rogue River, Oregon, a little church, had a reception on the river, and I smashed the cake into your face.
Yeah, that was mean.
That was mean.
I was on your Aunt Bev's birthday also.
Yes. And no one was happy with me that I did that.
In the video, you can hear my mom yelling, "Oh, my baby."
And then we danced and I picked cake out of your hair.
Yeah.
All right.
I did laugh at that.
Well, that was back when you laughed at me.
Back when I laughed at everything.
All right, everyone. Appreciate you listening to our ramblings, sometimes coherent, often incoherent, and thanks for putting up with the dog tonight. She is being a pest, but a good way. So at the WLP Podcast on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcasts, seek God, serve your family, and strengthen your body. Have a great week.